I'm going to fire up the automatic for the first time. Coming up. Okay, so you guys have seen from the videos everything that's been done to this. I feel like I'm at a good point towards where I can just go ahead and fire this press up. The first thing I need to do is turn on the air compressor. I'm gonna turn it on, let it fill up with air, and then in the meantime, I'm going to do some pre-flight checks. I'm gonna go around, make sure I don't have any tools laying around, make sure there's no cables that are in the way, and also I'm going to check all my connections, make sure we're good to go. Then I'm going to open up the valve from the compressor, let the press fill up, turn it on, and we'll see what we got. Okay, the compressor just shut off. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the refrigerator. And then I'm just going to go ahead and open up the main line, start filling up the system. Let's see what we got here. We're getting any pressure over here. I don't see anything yet. Huh. Okay, there's no pressure at the press, but I do know that there is pressure in the line. So what I'm going to go ahead and do at this point is adjust this regulator. So what I'm doing at this point is I'm pulled the cap up. I'm opening up this regulator so that way it'll let air into the system, making sure that it's out of the way of, oh gosh, these arms. Everything is off on the press, but I'm going to slowly crank this thing up. Okay, so I'm going to open this thing up. See what we did. I can hear a leak inside of it. Let's see, all the little screen clamps work just fine. So I need to fix that leak so that way the compressor's not constantly kicking on and off. Table up, table down is working great. When I turn print on, I can hear, one of the reasons I left this tab off, I knew I nicked one of the lines with the little bolt. It was the last one I had to do, and I just so happened to nick it. So I'm going to turn the compressor off for now, open up this panel and see where this leak's coming from. I already know where the other leak is coming from, and I'm going to fix those and see if that takes care of it. So you can see here's where our leak is in head number 5. I happened to nick that when I was putting it together. However, deeper down inside here, there is the quick connect that I put it together with. And what I'm going to try and do is disconnect it here. If I can find a way to grab a hold of it without losing it, just cut it here and bring that hose and connect it at this quick connect rather than doing another connection. I want too many of these little quick connect things on here. Okay, so I cut off the bad end, and I don't know if you guys can see down in there, but right back there, let me zoom in. There's the connections that I need to make. I am using my vice grips just to hold it in place. I'm not pinching it down or anything like that, but I'm going to press that other end into that quick connection. So the next issue is coming from this one right here. I may have to replace that connection, no big deal, and go to Granger and get that. Let me coming from right there, so I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that as well. I'm gonna pull the cable and see if I can't just reconnect it real quick. Maybe that will fix it, maybe not. If not, no big deal. Cheap part. Alright, so yesterday, tried firing everything up, letting the air go into the press. There were a couple places that had leaks, so I really couldn't do much of a test. I did a few things off camera, and obviously with the hoses leaking, it's just not going to work the way it should. Went to Grainger, got the part that I needed to. However, here's the part that came off of it. Did have to get an adapter because they were out of these parts, but we have to get this thing going, so let's install this part and do another test. Alright, I combined this reducer along with this fitting. It's all they had, and I don't really like doing this, but we need to get this thing up and going, and it's going to go right up here. So I'm going to go ahead and install that and push my tubing back in there. Okay, I had to cut these tie straps off here, screw them down on the floor. I had them in a cross pattern. I had to do that in order to get this fitting on. Got my hose back in. So test number 2, start up, let's do it. Alright, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this thing on. So I'm going to go down to these regulators, and instead of running at 90, I'm going to bump it up to 120 per. The manual says it needs 120 20 foot CFM, 20 CFM of air. That has 25, so I'm going to bump this up to 120 and see what difference that makes. Alright, I just called Howard, technician. There's a few issues going on. There is one of these little T connections here. This thing does seem to be leaking here. Right there. I can feel it. Hear it. So it looks like I might have to make another run to Grainger to see if we can fix that. The other issue going on is print head number 1 and 3 are not turning on. Howard told me to switch some of these little wires here on this valve. This second one here is for the first print head. He said to just go ahead and switch it over switch 1 and 2 over and see if it does anything. If it does, then that is bad. I'm going to do that real quick, see if that remedies it. If that is the case, I'm going to run the Grainger and get that as well. The other thing I need to do is adjust this spring because the table is going forward, hitting it and bouncing back, so it has too much tension on it. I'm going to adjust that as well before he gets here. He's coming this evening to help out. Hopefully we can get all these things remedied tonight because we have jobs that are due tomorrow and it is Thursday. We have to get this stuff taken care of. I made a couple adjustments to the regulators. He told me to set this one at about 110, 120, have it at 120, and then to bring this guy down to 40. Print is off right now, but when I turn it on, it does go up to 40. It's starting to rain, not a big deal, but I'm going to turn this thing off. Print on when I do activate these heads. There's 2. You can see it does its thing. Number 1 doesn't do anything. It tries to. Number 3, same issue. It moves slightly, but it's not doing what it's supposed to. So one of the things he told me to do is pull this plate on print head 1. If it's not printing, he said that we should be able to hit the switch and see if the air is coming out of both of these lines. I got that little T fitting off. I labeled the cables in here with some tape. You can see them there. I did manage to get all 6 heads working now. That's awesome. Part of the issue was these flood and stroke adjustment knobs here were completely closed. Minor stuff. Now it's time to go to Grainger, get this replacement part. I tried fooling with the shock over here because one of the issues is the table was rotating, hitting that spring and bouncing back. So apparently it's out too much. I don't know if it adjusted during the move. I'm gonna have Howard come and adjust that. Tried fooling with it. I don't know how that works exactly, but I'll learn when he comes out. By the end of tonight, Howard's going to be here at 8. We should have this thing up and going, and we can print some t-shirt jobs. I was just heading to Grainger. Lost track of time. I wouldn't get to Grainger until they were closing, and Howard just gave me a call letting me know that he is on his way. So I'm just gonna hook that T-fitting back up and I'll head to Granger tomorrow. Howard coming in. Now I have to scramble to get some screens ready so we can do some test prints. Anyways, back at the shop. Finally, Howard just left maybe an hour ago, ate a little dinner. This thing is working like it should be. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of a demonstration. Although I still got to do a few things like tighten down these pallets, make sure they're the same distance, and then we're gonna do our first test print. Now let's go ahead and turn this thing on and show you it go through its paces. All right, I'm gonna turn the power up. Make sure that the table is underneath this registration fork there. I'm going to turn print on. And I'm going to turn each of the heads to single, turn the flash on, let it do its thing. I have the foot pedal off, that way it will just run in auto mode. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. I do have this flash off at the moment, but I know it works just great. The last front head in focus. You can see how it tables up and tables down and how the indexing system works here. I'll get some better video in the future when it is light out. But there you go, guys. It is up and running.